So I kind of wanted to make a video to talk about where I left things off with my mental health and trying to overcome social anxiety and all kinds of other anxieties as I was starting university. By the way, I'm in this really nice hotel in Portugal called Corinthia. I recommend. Chef's kiss. When we travel, we usually stay in an Airbnb, but lately what we do is we always try to get, for at least 2 nights, a really fancy hotel, because we couldn't afford, at the moment we cannot afford to stay the entire trip in a fancy hotel, but we always try to get at least 1 or 2 nights in. So anyway, let's talk about the things that took me from avoidant to less avoidant. So I do feel like without therapy, I would not have made the progress that I've made, because it's always helpful to get the perspective of not only a professional, but someone who is not in your head, someone who has a different perspective than you on your own life, and that helps you to question things and put things into different perspectives and go out there in the world and try to practice some of those new perspectives that you pick up in therapy. So definitely without that is the first step for me. It would have been, I'm not sure if I would have made the same progress. Therapy doesn't have to come from a licensed psychologist, and I know that I have to be careful what I say here, because I'm not promoting to carelessly go to anyone who calls themselves a counselor. I just mean that sometimes having a good chat with someone that's close to you that you can trust, like a sister or a friend or whomever that might be, can have just as much benefit if you're able to be as open and vulnerable and have it be received in a non-judgmental way. It's no secret that something that's helped me tremendously is beta blockers, but I think I'll talk about that in the end, because although it's helped me the most, it was my last resource, and I will always recommend it to be not the first thing that you choose. I wouldn't say that it has to be the last resource for you, for anyone else, but it shouldn't be the first option, or more so, it shouldn't be the only option. Welcome back. I'm in my bathroom. Girl, what is that? Oh my god. Anyways, I'm in my bathroom right now. I'm trying to get ready to meet some friends. I have no hot water, no heating, so I am freezing, but we're just gonna vibe with it. We're just gonna ignore it and pretend we are nice and cozy. It's been a minute since I vlogged, and I have no excuse other than a really good one. And what happened was I'm about to wax my mustache and my eyebrows. So anyway, as I was saying, maybe I should put a microphone on. Ready? Kinda worked. Ow. Anyway, what I was saying is that I have not vlogged for a minute because this is not a good lighting. It was really hard for me to do anything other than my coursework throughout this entire year of doing my master's in neuroscience and psychology. The guilt that I would feel if I did anything other than reading or working towards my assignments just wouldn't allow me to do anything creative at all. And to be honest, I'm just craving right now to just do creative things, to draw, to write, to make videos. And most of all, I am so right now craving to be deep alone in nature. And I have no idea how to fulfill that wish right now. So while I wait to figure that out, I figured even if I don't have time to make this video, this will still be valuable to me in the future. I think that's okay. Wanna lay here? Wanna lay here? Wanna lay there? Oh, it's already recording. You couldn't wait for me, could you? I feel like, why can't I pause it? Oh, it's from the front. Can't pause it. Good job. Oh, that's better. So, I've cleaned myself up, made myself a cup of coffee, and I'm sitting here on my dog bed. And we're going to talk about what I intended to talk about from the beginning of this video, which is how the hell did I get through an entire year of going to university with social anxiety, with glossophobia, which is the fear of public speaking, and what were some of the tools that I found really helpful and that I was able to actually put into practice and grow with. So let's get started. The number one thing was the state of mind that I approached this with. From the very beginning, I told myself, no matter what happens, we are not going to believe any of the negative self-talk and thoughts. And I say we, I have named my brain because it makes it easier for me to question the intentions behind each thought if I don't speak by saying I picture my brain as another entity that is trying to convince me to do things I don't want to do. Like have really bad beliefs about myself and the world. I approached every situation with the belief and the intention to believe that I am safe, that people are safe, that most people, and I mean 99.9% of people, are good people. I also approached it with curiosity, but not too much curiosity. I was very aware that I am someone who tends to intellectualize emotions and feelings. So I also practiced just being quiet and actually listening to how my body feels in a moment instead of listening to my brain running a million different thoughts at the same time about a situation that that isn't always worth in having an entire dialogue about or investigation about. So I also had to learn to quiet myself, or her up there, and this made it easy to enter into a room and not think, oh my god, I need to make myself so much smaller, I don't want to be seen. No, instead I approach every situation with curiosity. And what I learned through just doing that is that when I don't listen to the voice in my head that tells me to hide, is that it tends to go quiet. It tends to just go in the background, and then you eventually don't hear it anymore. And instead you hear the positive one. The one that says, oh, what a lovely person I just met. What I also come to realize is that by having so many negative self-talk and by intellectualizing every situation, I was kind of self-involved because I was constantly trying to analyze things from my perspective. Even if I wasn't thinking that I'm the most amazing person in a room, I was thinking the opposite, but it's still self-involved. I'm still caring about what they think about me. And instead, what I started to do is not worry so much about what I think about me, and instead bring my curiosity as to what do I think about them. When you have experienced childhood trauma, this is something that you pick up very quickly, because you have to self-analyze in order to navigate the world, because you have to constantly make sure that your every move, intention, tone, phrase is catered to the other person and what the other person wants and needs from you. Learning to stop paying attention to that and instead pay attention to, do I like this person? And that shift was quite powerful for me. I let so many people cross my boundaries. I didn't even have any boundaries. The next thing that I worked on when I came to realize, and I think I've touched on this on my previous videos a lot, is working through the realization that my fear of perception, my fear of being seen, was deeply rooted in shame. It was not a fear, actually, it was a shame. And I'm still working on that. I still carry shame, and it still comes back because it's kind of been my baseline for so many years that I revert back to it very quickly, very easily, without even realizing. So I'm still working on paying attention to when I feel like hiding. The first way I notice it is shoulders, arms crossed, heads in my neck. Voice gets a little high-pitched like this when I know I'm in my shame. And so I try to, like, hey, stand up, open your arms, look up, hands, neck up. And I'm not gonna lie, sometimes I'm literally fighting my body to stay in this position. Like, we are taking space. Come on, we can do this. And that's one way to, like, face the shame. But of course, most importantly, it starts within. And my go-to when I start to feel shame is just to say to myself, there is no shame in being present, there is no shame in being seen. I am absolutely safe right now. Everyone around me here is safe. I am safe. And sometimes that's all it takes. I said at the beginning of the video that I will talk about beta blockers. I think I will talk about them one last time because I have touched on that a few times in the previous videos. And the reason why I'm careful about talking about beta blockers is because, as I mentioned before, I think I've mentioned it before anyway, is that this was a last resort. This was not a first option, and I would never suggest to anyone to immediately go for medication to help you with anxiety, because it could only fix the physical symptoms, and even then it's more like putting a plaster on them, because the second you stop taking them, well, if you haven't worked on it on a deeper level, it's gonna come back. It's gonna come back strong. So yes, beta blockers help, but they help even more so if you've done the mental work and if you've changed your self-limiting beliefs. So if you take a beta blocker before having a presentation and it helps you with your heart rate and shaking, but in your mind you're still talking down to yourself and telling yourself that what you're saying is crap and no one should be listening to you and they're all making fun of you probably, it's not helping. Don't do that. Don't do that. Work on your internal beliefs first. And it doesn't have to be through a therapist. Of course, seeing a therapist is something you if you can do, you should do, but it doesn't have to be through a therapist. I think a lot of the work that I've done through meditation. And even when I say meditation, I don't mean like this. No, I just mean like walking through the forest and listening to my thoughts, doing that while I'm doing the dishes or taking a shower. It's meditation can happen at any moment. I have also gained a lot of knowledge through books and podcasts and listening to people who don't have these issues. Even my own dog, I've learned a lot from my own dog. If you have dogs, you know what I'm talking about. I hope this was helpful. I am thinking about diving into this a little deeper in some form. If you like these videos, please give me a like or a comment. Just because YouTube is keeping me in the shadows, in the dark web where no one can find me, and I would like to make some kind of impact here. Ooh. Anyway, see you soon. Bye.